Okay, let's unpack this. So today we're doing a deep dive on building real sustainable success, but we're going to come at it from a bit of a different angle.
Almost backwards, really.
Exactly. Instead of a big to-do list of smart things to get rich, we're focusing on the absolute catastrophes to avoid.
Right. We're trying to minimize what our source material calls the dumb tax.
Yeah.
Those massive, painful financial hits that don't come from the market. They come from our own impulsive and sometimes just reckless decisions.
And the sources we're using are incredibly honest about this. One author figures his own dumb taxes in the tens of millions.
Wow.
Yeah. And he makes this crucial point. The problem is almost never your IQ. It's the unwillingness to actually use that intelligence when things get heated.
That's the core of it, isn't it? Business is an intellectual sport. But the second money is on the line, we can just revert to these, emotional gut-level choices.
So the mission for you listening today is to get a kind of shortcut, a way to move from those reactive choices to more thoughtful, rational ones.
Because every single one of those bad decisions, every project that imploded, it always started as a good idea.
It felt right at the time.
It felt compellingly right. And that's because emotion took over. There's this inverse relationship. When your emotions spike greed, optimism, fear, your intellect just plummets. Warren Buffett said it best, optimism is the enemy of the rational investor.
You can't think straight when you're excited.
Exactly. And that's why the solution itself isn't complicated, but man, is it hard to stick to?
It's just thinking.
It's thinking. I mean, Napoleon Hill's book wasn't called Use Your Gut and Grow Rich. It was Think and Grow Rich. We need a process for that.
Okay, so that brings us to the main tool we're looking at today, which is thinking time.
Right. And this is not just, zoning out. It's a formal, dedicated process, maybe 30 to 45 minutes, uninterrupted, where you tackle one single high-value question that you've prepared beforehand.
The pre-planning part seems key there, doesn't it? It has to be a ritual.
It has to be mandatory. It forces you to confront reality, to really wrestle with the assumptions and the unrealistic optimism that's usually hiding under the surface of a bad idea.
That's interesting. Peter Bernstein said the riskiest moment is when you think you're right.
Because that's when you stop asking questions. Thinking time forces that humility back in.
I love that the sources just completely dismiss the whole trial and error thing. They call it the pin the tail on the donkey strategy.
It's painful, it's slow, and it's mostly luck.
And you get that great line. Practice doesn't make perfect, it just makes permanent. If you're running enthusiastically in the wrong direction, you're just getting better at being wrong.
Which is why you need a structure for this thinking time, right? To make sure you're asking the right questions.
So what is that structure? The sources talk about these core disciplines of thinking.
Yeah, the 5 core disciplines. And the first 2 are all about making sure you're even working on the right thing to begin with.
Okay, let's start with number 1. Find the unasked question. The idea here is that the problem isn't a lack of answers, it's asking, bad questions.
Inferior questions, exactly. You ask a small tactical question, you're going to get a small tactical answer. Now, a problem is just an unanswered question, but here's a distinction you have to make.
Between a problem and a predicament?
A predicament. That's something in your environment you can't change. The price of oil, your age, the economy. You can't solve a predicament.
You just have to play the game within it.
Right. And trying to solve one is a total waste of intellectual energy.
Which is the trap.
Yeah.
You frame something as a statement like our profits suck, and your brain just accepts it. It's a fact. It doesn't look for a solution.
So you have to reframe it. The discipline is to always use the structure. How might I? So that I can...
Can you give an example of that?
Sure. So instead of our profits suck, you ask, how might I generate an extra $20,000 a month in profit so that I can afford to invest in that new building?
Ah, okay. That gives you a target, a purpose. It opens up possibilities.
It forces possibility. It's what Peter Drucker meant when he said having the right question is genius. Because the most dangerous thing you can do is get the right answer to the wrong question.
And that danger leads right into discipline 2, which is separating the problem from the symptom.
This is maybe the biggest one for entrepreneurs. You ask them their biggest problem, and what do they say?
Low sales, poor cash flow, high turnover.
Yeah.
They're describing the gap, right,
Yeah.
between where they are and where they want to be.
Exactly. And that gap, that pain, that's the symptom. It's the alarm bell. It is not the root cause. And just complaining about the symptom does nothing to change it.
The sources have a great example for this. Fitness. The attic full of exercise equipment.
Yes. So your symptom is you're out of shape. The tactical solution is, I'll buy a Peloton. Or some new fancy shoes,
And you've solved the symptom, you've bought the thing, but you haven't touched the actual problem.
which is the lack of discipline, or a bad diet, or no consistent schedule. So you have this expensive machine gathering dust because you built a solution for the wrong thing. You solved the symptom.
Which guarantees zero progress. So how do you find the real obstacle?
You have to ask better diagnostic questions. What are the possible reasons for this symptom? What isn't happening that if it did would fix this? And what is happening that if it stopped would fix this?
Finding that real obstacle. That's the breakthrough. And once you start looking for it, you realize how much of what you believe is built on, well, shaky ground.
Which is discipline 3, question your assumptions.
Right. The author we mentioned earlier, the one with the multi-million-dollar dumb tax,
Yeah.
he says almost all of it could have been avoided if he'd just questioned his assumptions before he acted.
The danger is you don't even see them. They just feel like facts. Like, think about Kodak. They literally invented the digital camera.
But they doubled down on film. They assumed film would always be king.
Or the Swiss watchmakers. They saw the battery-powered watch and assumed it was just a cheap gimmick. They gifted the entire future of the industry to Japan because of a bad assumption.
So the key question to keep asking yourself is, what don't I see?
And you have to ask it no matter how small the stakes are. There's a great story about Warren Buffett playing golf.
He's a terrible golfer, right?
Awful. And someone offers him a bet. 1,000-to-1 odds on a hole-in-one for $20. And Buffett instantly says no.
For just $20, why?
His friend is confused, says, what's $20? And Buffett's reply is just perfect intellectual discipline. He says, stupid in small things, stupid in big things.
Wow. So it wasn't about the money.
Not at all. It was about the principle of not taking bad odds, of separating fact from fantasy no matter the price tag.
That's a powerful way to live.
Yeah.
And that kind of thinking leads right into the next discipline, number 4. Consider second-order consequences.
Right. You only control the decision you make right now. You do not control the consequences that come after.
So you have to think about the ripples. The source material has a litmus test for this, the power of 3.
The power of 3. It's simple. 1, what's the upside? We're all great at that one.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's the exciting part.
2, what is the downside? What could possibly go wrong? We tend to gloss over this. And 3, the big one. Can I live with the downside?
And if the answer to that last one isn't a definite yes,
You have to rethink the whole thing.
the classic story that illustrates this perfectly is the Cobra effect.
Oh, this one's great. So British Red and Delhi, they have a cobra problem. So they put a bounty on them. Bring in a dead snake, get paid.
This is a good idea.
On the surface, yeah. But then you have to think about the second-order consequence, the human response.
People started greeting them.
Entrepreneurial Indians started cobra farms. They were literally creating snakes just to kill them for the bounty.
So the government was paying people to make the problem worse.
Exactly. So what did the government do? They scrapped the bounty. But then there's the next second-order consequence.
The farmers just let all the now worthless snakes go.
And the cobra population doubled. A good idea created a total catastrophe because they didn't think 2 steps ahead.
That's terrifying. It brings to mind something the golfer Tom Kite said. A double bogey is a bad shot, followed by a stupid shot.
Yes, the first mistake happens, but that second reactive, stupid shot, that's the one that kills you. That's the dumb tax.
So we have this framework, thinking time, to avoid the stupid shots. But once you have a good strategy, you have to execute it. And that needs clarity.
This is where so many plans fall apart. Generalizations kill clarity. Things like, we're going to achieve aggressive growth or improve performance.
They're just fluffy words. They're not a plan.
They're a substitute for a plan. Clarity is power. It's the ability to act. So instead of wishful thinking, you need a blueprint.
Yep.
Weekly steps, conversion rates, who's accountable, that's a plan.
And to execute that plan, a lot of entrepreneurs need to change how they see themselves. This is where the 4 hats of business comes in.
Right. You've got the artist, the operator, the owner, and the board. And the trap is that most owners are stuck wearing the operator hat all day.
They're just doing the work, putting out fires, trading time for money.
And they believe that passion and just working harder will be enough. It never is. That path just leads to burnout.
So the goal is to spend more time wearing the owner and board hats.
The owner builds the machine, the systems. But the board hat, that's the ultimate antidote to the dumb tax. Its only job is to be disciplined, to question, to probe, to anticipate crisis, to be rational when the founder is emotional.
So the best decision you can make is to create a board, even an informal one, of advisors who can challenge you.
Absolutely. The source material is clear. Most of the dumb text gets paid because there's only one voice in the room.
It all comes down to structure. Opportunity without structure is just chaos.
It's a hand crank machine. If you want to grow, you just have to crank faster yourself. There's no leverage.
And sometimes the hardest thing is realizing the tools that got you here won't get you there. You have to be willing to drop them.
The Men Gulch fire is such a powerful example of this. These elite firefighters, they were trapped by this massive fire, and they died clinging to their heavy tools, their axes, their shovels.
Because dropping them meant they weren't firefighters anymore. It was their identity.
They couldn't let go of the right way to do things, even when it was killing them. The survivors had to completely rethink the problem. It wasn't about fighting the fire anymore.
It was about escape.
And they use a totally new tool, an escape fire, to survive. New circumstances demand new tools. Clinging to the old way can be fatal.
So as we wrap up, let's just quickly recap the big takeaways here for avoiding that dumb tax.
First, it's real. And it's a tax on impulse, not a lack of intelligence. So you need a mandatory ritual of thinking time.
And in that time, you have to find the true obstacle, not the symptom, by asking better questions. Like that, how might I, so that I can framework.
Then you have to rigorously question your assumptions, think about those second-order consequences, and always, always try to put on that rational board of directors hat.
And as a final thought, we have to connect all this thinking back to action. For a long time, we're told the biggest problem is, I don't know what I don't know.
But the sources we looked at suggest there's a much, much bigger problem.
And what's that?
You don't do what you do know. The dumb tax isn't just wasted money, it's wasted knowledge.
Education without execution is just shelf help. Success means getting addicted to the business end of a shovel, because problems you put off are just problems that get bigger. So what knowledge are you refusing to act on right now that will end up costing you the most?